Hello and welcome everybody back at Subnautica. As you may remember from last time, we were fooling around with the modification station that we were so graciously given by an amazing bit of wreckage. We went through, we upgraded everything that we could. We haven't built this yet. Obviously, Cyclops hull is, we haven't found that yet. And there's a couple pressure compensators that we can stick in the sea moth as well as the prawn. As you can see, it's compatible for both. But I have a special treat for you guys today. I went ahead, took the luxury of collecting a whole bunch of shit, as you can see here. Might not even be able to fit it all. Oh, just did. Actually, gotta listen to the answering machine. Plug in the holes in the emergency sea glide so if we're late for the rendezvous, don't panic. Also, don't go home without us. Seriously, 3 out. Alright. Well, you sound like you might have had a better chance of surviving than most of the people we've listened to so far. Oh, and the aero glide. These are what we were missing. You can find them in the safe shallows right next to the ship. The Aurora, we actually passed right over them on our way to the Aurora, so that's what those look like. They'll grow a little bit bigger. You can see our bulb bushes are getting pretty close now, and didn't take too long either, so that's pretty cool. I love how all these plants look, and it's nice that you can get some of them close, and especially like these even give you light as well as those, so you can use those to actually light your base. Really cool if you wanted to. Let's find, where's our mobile vehicle base? Floating right over our base, which is maybe not the most ideal. Let's see what happens. So, we have 3 vehicles that you're allowed to make in this game. You guys have seen the sea moth so far. What about the Cyclops? Let's go ahead and take a look. Woo! Look how fucking big that thing is! It's so good. It's so good.
Cyclops is designed to be operated by a 3-person
Yeah, it's supposed to be a 3-person crew, which makes sense because look how fucking big this thing is. And hopefully it doesn't just drop it straight into the base. It looks like it's going to be forward enough to not clip the moon pool. Boom! And this thing, unlike the other 2 vehicles... Oh shit. Yeah, we did scrape a little bit there. I hope that doesn't... Oh, can we actually get in? Let's pull it forward just a little bit real quick, and then I'll give you a tour, just so we're not, like, sitting on stuff. As you can see, this is fucking amazing. I'll give you the tour. I promise. I promise. I just want to get it off of that reef where they so rudely dropped it. Oh. We might just be hitting all kinds of stuff, but it's okay. We can actually spin this bad boy around too. And do a little bit of a, because I like that most of that area that way is going to be more open, so we won't have to worry about colliding with stuff as much. So we'll just go ahead and kind of back it out here just a little bit, give us some room for the next surprise I'm going to have for you. One thing I learned my first time with this, fun little story, you always need to turn that engine off because it will horribly fuck you if you don't. But we can go ahead and start here. So you can see we get a compass here like we do with the sea moth. That turns on your engine. You get 3 speeds. The first one is slow but quiet. Second one is kind of a normal speed. And third one, you can only run for a little while or it will set your entire engine room on fire, which is not great. Shows you our depth. Our current thing that we're allowed to go to with no modules is 500 meters, which is, if you remember, a bit better than what we had before. Even in the sea moth. The sea moth can only do 3. We've got 5 right off the bat. Shows you the power. We've got 3 different cameras that you can control. I know someone on the stream was telling me he mostly drives this thing using the camera, so that makes a lot of sense. You can see that since the top one is above water, we can actually use it to kind of scan the horizon, which is pretty cool. We can take a good look at the Aurora. And last but not least, we got the one towards the back of the vessel, which we can use to kind of get a little bit of a view on this kelp forest. The other two things we have here, you've got quiet mode and torpedoes, or decoys. Sorry, decoys. Not torpedoes. It would be great if it was torpedoes. Here is where we can customize, and similarly to the Seamoth, I'm just going to go ahead and, if it'll let me. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. I thought I had to erase that first. So, I'm going to name this after my first one, the Ocean Fucker 500. Because that's what we're going to do with it. We're going to fuck this ocean for all the times that it's tried to fuck us. And similar to the Seamoth, we want to get this thing just nice and loud. I think orange is an awesome color, so we'll go ahead and go with that. First off, we got to get the pink stripe in there represented. It already knows what we wanted the third one for, and the name. Bum, 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 bum. Let's go with a red. So we got like a nice rainbow here. Okay, all that looks good to me. Oh, back me up, maybe. There we go. Then here you can see we've got the external floodlights, so that is what it looks like on. Oop. Pop it back up. That is off. We can also turn off the indoor lighting. Now, from what I've heard, neither one of these actually drain your power, at least not as of yet. So they've been on for a while. Even turning on the engine, moving a little bit, we're still at 100%, which is amazing. Always good to see. So we'll do this layer first. This is where you can park your Seamoth or your prawn, and we will show you that process here in a minute. It's super, super cool. You can actually get directly in from here, as well as basically it means that you can use this as kind of a mobile base to carry your smaller vehicles to areas. And the cool thing, similar to a base, it saves your inventory when you get... That's creeping me out. So, similarly to a base, it saves your inventory when you come into one of these. So, you can basically use this as a mobile... There's possession happening in this room. We're just going to go ahead and seal that for a moment. This is actually what the bulkheads look like, but in your base, you actually turn them and do like the full dramatic thing, which we still need to set that up. As you can see, we got 3 power cells on this side. One that's done a little bit, but that's from turning it on and moving it. We've also got the Cyclops. To upgrade the Cyclops, it actually has an upgrade station within itself for that purpose, which is amazing. Super cool. We've got more access to the bottom from here. Get out of here quickly. 3 more power cells, as well as our upgrade station. And if you remember, we grabbed an upgrade for that at one of the locations we've been to already. So let's go ahead and plug that in super quick, just so you can see that. And real quick, the bottom, very simple. So that's what leads back to engineering. And then up here, you've got 5 amazing storage lockers that hold a fair bit of stuff, which is really, really good. Here's where we can manually get out without using a vehicle. And we will zip on over here and see if we do actually have one, as I said we did. It would be in here, I believe. Oh, it's an efficiency, not pressure. But that means that it doesn't use up energy as fast, which is super cool. Another cool thing, when you load a vehicle into the Ocean Fucker 500, it will actually fully charge it using the Ocean Fucker's battery, which you want to be careful and make sure that you're not screwing yourself with that, but at the same time, very, very cool. And look at that. That is fucking amazing. The animation for that, the fact that you can do this in the first place, just this whole thing is just one of the coolest fucking things in this game. And one of my favorite things that I've gotten to experience here in general. And I mean, just look at this. And this is a sonar. It will only show creatures that can actually do damage to the Cyclops, is what I'm fairly sure, because I've driven past like bone sharks and nothing has shown up. But still to be tested, I suppose. I haven't taken my previous one against a Reaper or anything crazy like that, so I don't know how dangerous those are to this thing. I assume it has a pretty decent amount of health, given just the size. And here you can see a health bar, as well as, I believe this will also show you, so like, let's say the engine room is on fire, I think it would be lit up here. Another thing I haven't experimented with before that I don't know why I didn't think of it before, given that this is a base, I can probably build stuff in here. which I didn't try. We're going to try that after I show you the other little surprise that I got put together. And this one, so I showed you that plant that we got that we used to make the aerogel. The other component that kind of would have been missing, I had grabbed on one of the previous resource gathering things. It was on the edge of the sparse reefs, which you remember we've been to. And we will actually be able to take a closer look now, thanks to what I'm about to show you. Actually, while we're here, let's grab a couple titanium. I want to see if I can put planters on the Cyclops, because if we can, then that would just be the coolest thing in the world. I never tested that before. I really should have, but I'm excited. As for our other magical surprise that we have for you,
It is normal
the prawn suit.
piloting a prawn suit to feel a sense of limitless power. Prawn operators receive weeks of training to counteract this phenomenon. You will have to make do with self-discipline.
I didn't want to interrupt that because I thought that was very, very flavorful and very well done.
Welcome.
Here's the prawn suit. You can see starts with a max depth of 900. We get a booster jet, and we get 2 just punchy fists that we can use to club fishes to death, as well as gather resources. And the cool thing about that is when you gather resources using those arms, they go directly into its storage, which I thought was absolutely fucking awesome. Now, I don't think we actually have any storage here right now. Oh, actually we do. We start with some. You can actually add storage modules to this as well using the same ones that work for the Seamoth. This, the same way as the Seamoth, can be loaded into that, which we will show you later. But another cool thing, it can also be loaded into our moon pool. For full customization purposes, of course. So we'll go ahead and get a neon paint job on this bad boy. And I've tried renaming it before. It didn't seem to change the name, but fuck it. We will... Prawny. Why not? Prawny the prawn suit. And we'll come up with something more creative for that later. But for now... should we do like... Oh, no, you know what we're gonna do? We'll just go with a diva, because it's kind of like a fucking diva suit, right? I do have Overwatch. I'll throw up some Overwatch one of these days, but we'll get there. We'll get there. We got a nice teal stripe on there, as well as a... you know what? Gold's all right. We can deal. We can deal. For the name, we'll go with a nice seaweed green. And vehicle color, I assume this is probably the inside. Let's go ahead and get a blue. We haven't gotten a good blue yet, have we? Or I guess we got the nice neon blue stripe there. What do we want to look at? What do we want to look at? You know what? We'll go with the classic red. Always a good time. You can see we instantly just have just the neon pink diva suit. And then I also gathered a couple more resources. You might remember we found some diamonds before, which we will use for the drill suit arm. Plasteel just takes lithium and titanium, as you may remember. And then advanced wiring kits took a little bit of time to put together, but not the worst thing in the world. And we can go over to here, and similar to the Seamoth, what do you know? We've got an upgrade station. Now, the thing to remember is you got to remember his right arm, his left arm. I like to put the grapple on the left and the drill on the right. And we can also, and we've also got to put that in the Cyclops as well. What I'm probably going to do, since this is our new toy, we'll go ahead and pull the upgrades out of the Seamoth right now, throw them in this bad boy. Play around with this for a while, show you some new zones that were harder to explore with the Seamoth. This thing has a little bit more defense to it, a little bit more beef to it, as well as you can drill the shit out of stuff, which just feels fucking amazing. It allows us to gather resources much faster than we could before, as you may remember from those notes. But here is why we use the drill arm. You can just grapple to shit. You can just hold that, so you can like stick to walls. Let's go ahead and show you that real quick. So if you're waiting for your thruster to come back, you can just hold onto the wall, which I thought was fucking really cool. The thing to note about this is it actually has 2 batteries in it instead of 1, unlike the Seamoth, which seems to let it run a bit longer, which is really cool. Now, obviously, we got the module so that our sea moth can go for fucking days, but still a nice thing to have. And yeah, basically, being able to load that thing up with this is just really, really cool. Adds a lot of cool flavor. We'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and leave this to fully charge while we finish up in the Cyclops. Sploosh. And another thing, once we finish showing some stuff in here, like the upgrading.
Captain, all systems online.
Go ahead and come back here. And we'll drop our upgrade in here. Efficiency now 200%. And let's go ahead and see how cheap these upgrades are. I don't really recall. We don't know the ingredients for that yet. I think we have to find our first one, maybe. That's just a computer chip, which isn't bad. I might just throw together another one of those so we can make the battery on this thing last longer. Shield generator we haven't found yet. Sonar, I don't know how to get polynylene yet. I have never found that. That's something we'll have to figure out together. The magnetite, however, we know is in the jelly mushroom cave, which we can now access much easier thanks to this thing. And we can upgrade the decoy tube to hold more decoys. We have never used a decoy. We're going to need to try that out because that's probably our way of escaping reapers and horrible, horrible, nasty stuff like that. But, like I said, let's go ahead and pull this out of here for now. And don't get me wrong, I will always have a love for the sea moth. This thing is amazing. And we will get some, once we get the further upgrades for it, we'll be able to do some cooler stuff with it again. But unfortunately, just